Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. My wife, 45, and her ex, 50-something, and their texts. My wife of 10 years and her friend of 20 years are having what I consider an affair. Maybe I'm wrong, as I'm not usually too perceptive about these things. Over the years I've stumbled across text messages between them where the guy is flirting and coming on to her, and she's playing it off as silly. I've confronted her before, but here we are nearly 3 years past the first time I found messages. This latest started a couple of weeks back with the guy asking her opinion about some work-related issues. They met at work and supposedly work different shifts. She works the evening shift and is off at 11 p.m., though she occasionally stays for a double shift. The guy works in a different T-section, so according to her they haven't seen each other in years. Maybe not, I don't know. She told me she had talked to him about this work issue, and I thought nothing of it. Yesterday as I was folding the laundry, a message came to her phone that she had left on the table. I saw the message on the screen and it was some pet name for her and something about what he'd like to do to you with peppers. I confronted her last night and she went into her excuses about depression, anxiety and low self-esteem. And since I've been too busy with work and not paying attention to her, she just likes to hear what this other guy says. Long story short, it was my fault. But she loves me and wants me only. Today, her phone was on the counter again and another message came in. The guy asked her for phone sex, though he enjoys their non-sexual talk too. He's awaiting her answer, as she texted him this morning to tell him to remember she's in a relationship. Good to know that's what 10 years of marriage gets you, a relationship. So here I am, waiting for the kids to fall asleep to have yet another conversation. Different this time, though. Wish me luck. Your wife is having an emotional affair and is gaslighting you that it is your fault because you are not giving her enough attention, depression, anxiety and low self-esteem. She is basically saying she is flirting with a man she has known for 20 years, to make herself feel better. She does not care in the slightest that she is causing you to have low self-esteem, because of her choices. If I were in your shoes, that conversation would have the following points. We are married, not in a relationship. All contact with this man is to cease, as they do not work together, just at the same place, or she needs to find a new job, or you will send the screenshots of his phone sex requests to HR and his partner. She needs to book an appointment with a therapist for depression, anxiety and low self-esteem and get professional assistance for her problems, as neither you or her AP are responsible for how she feels. Because getting an ego boost from some other man will never solve those 3 issues. This had been going on for so long that it is just normal for her now. She doesn't even try to hide it anymore. She cannot see how she is disrespecting you, your children or your marriage, just so she can feel better about herself. Talk to a lawyer for the best advice on how to leave your relationship. This is betrayal. This is disrespect. She's obviously decided he's more important to her than you are. Let him have her. Put her out. Hard and fast. It might snap her back, but at this point, do you really want her? She's pretty well moved on, no matter what she's lying to you by saying about him and her affair with him. This is very similar to what happened to me a couple months ago. My dumbass believed my wife wouldn't cheat on me, and here we are a month after D-Day. This is bad news, man. I'm sorry to hear about your betrayal. Hope you get some answers. That I like the validation of other men and you haven't been paying me enough attention stuff is bullshit and has no place in an accountable adult relationship. She sounds like a 12-year-old. Dude, she's bad news. The pro tip for anyone in this situation: when you see messages like that, take a photo and wait a few days, then check the chat history and see whether she is deleting the saucier ones and keeping innocuous ones. Any deletions basically means they think they can outwit you and hide stuff. And the only way to confront them is by not telling them exactly what you saw or when, and get them to volunteer the information instead. Do not do the pick-me dance. Set the situation straight. If she proceeds with this flirtation with her ex, then she is out of the house. Divorce her ass and mean it. Do not backtrack, as she will see it as a sign of weakness. No conversation is going to fix this. Years of betrayal swept under the rug. Lawyer up. You need to set boundaries, like if it's not about a work-related emergency, then please don't text me I'm married. As if they aren't in the same department or on the same team, then he should have no reason to be texting her. Ask your wife how she would feel if you were getting these texts from a co-worker. Update to my wife, her ex, and their texts. The story so far saw texts from him about produce and wanting phone sex. The first time they've been so explicit, at least the phone sex part, the pepper thing, man shrugging. As stated, I put the kids to bed and then I went to our den, where we normally watch TV and talk, and more, before sleep. That's our usual routine. She was on the floor with a sheepish look and a movie about family ready to go, a movie I like and she's indifferent to, and asked, "Do you want to do me?" I excused myself and went to the bathroom. I really had to go, but it allowed me to collect my thoughts. I came downstairs and told her I had seen the message from the guy. Her eyes dropped for a second and she said something along the lines of, "Yes. I was going to tell you about that." The reason she hadn't answered him immediately, it's because she didn't know what to say to his asking for phone sex and how erotic talking to her is, or at least that's what she said. She apologized profusely and said she thought it was just silly talk and she didn't realize he felt like this about her. She doesn't feel like that about him, and that she was really sorry she hurt me. That obviously it wasn't appropriate, and that once again, she was sorry. This was maybe a 15-minute talk. Then our middle child came down because she couldn't sleep and we stopped. We all watched the movie and she kept trying to touch me and get me aroused. I said no, thank you. And since it was getting late, I went to bed. This afternoon we met in town, as is our custom before she goes to work, and she brought all 3 kids, so I couldn't finish up our conversation. In between meetings at work, I wrote an email that I plan to send to her. I know she likes texts, but I'm really more of an email kind of guy. I love her, of course. But I cannot accept this. The saga continues. You can't stay with her, my dude. The fact that she keeps trying to use sex to manipulate you even after you confronted her, once again, about the dirty text, shows just how callous and immature she is and is not taking you seriously. Lawyer up and be free of her. The sooner you do this, the better you and your family will be in the long run. Stay strong and do not move from this. Her gaslighting and lies will jump into overdrive, so be prepared to go to battle. Honestly, she is old enough to know better than to behave like that. You need to be clear as to your boundaries and the repercussions to acting shady. If you are going to stay with her, no contact. He's got to be gone. Pretty much this. Now you need to decide. You say you still love her. This means that you are leaning towards staying. I won't blame you because she's your wife and your life. If you decide to stay, she needs to have no contact with him. If he is her co-worker, she either quits or you notify their HR to get them fired. She's not allowed to have any social apps. That way she can't stay in contact with him. She needs to work hard to regain your trust, and at the same time you need to show you love her. She needs passion and you need to give it to her, or she will find it from someone else. Okay, what are the consequences? She needs a new job. No more contact. Individual counseling. A post-nuptial agreement with an infidelity clause. No alimony. Or just serve her divorce papers. Don't sweep it under the rug. Listen, what she did was extremely disrespectful, and the further fact that she's trying to control you via sex is even more so. Is this person the woman you want in your life? Is this what you want from a life partner? You have no reason to believe what she's said, and even less reason to give her any benefit of the doubt. She's already shown you what type of person she is. It's up to you what you do with that information. This isn't it, Chief. Yeah. Keep doing the pick-me dance. You are very good at it. She might consider giving you a chance. This marriage is over. And I highly doubt that her affair is not already physical. I'm very sorry, but the marriage ended when she decided to betray you and step outside of the marriage. You've got to take some severe, hard and decisive actions immediately. These sound drastic, but she has already ended your marriage. She's in damage control right now. Lawyer up, get tested for STDs, as much as possible go no contact unless it's about kids or the divorce. Never reconcile. She can't be believed, and if you take her back you are signing up to be her monitor, her cop, a detective and overall parole supervisor of a woman you can't trust. Not worth it. Stay strong, this will be bad for a while, then it'll be over. Is she full of shit or what? Firstly, she says, yes, I was going to tell you about that, why hadn't she told you, and then she just downplays it as just silly talk. Second, she says, I didn't know he had feelings like that for me. Well, he's an ex-boyfriend, and she spews out another line of bullshit like that. A bloke who she was previously intimate with. You are just giving yourself a world of pain having anything to do with this woman, because everything that comes out of her mouth concerning her ex is lies, and you know it. Seriously, if she were to say it's a great day outside, I would seriously take a look to see if it was. What the hell do you mean by the saga continues? End this sham of a relationship. Why are you treating this like it's some movie drama? Lawyer up and file for divorce. Ask to see her texts and social media so you can read their messages. If she says no or deleted the messages, then you know this is worse than you think. If he is married or has a partner, then tell her. Get someone to look after your children so you can have a very long discussion with your wife. This woman who was your wife belongs to him now and is just trying to keep you on the hook as her backup. All that effort at hysterical bonding is just manipulation to keep you off base and from taking actions to help yourself. Get a lawyer and start the paperwork. Update to the update about my wife, her ex, and their texts. Story. She works on the weekends and we never have much time to ourselves in the morning. I've been periodically checking the responses to this, and whoa, some of y'all have issues. I get it, though, and I appreciate your responses. As I mentioned, we spoke Thursday for a few minutes and we left it where I thought it was understood. She volunteered that she wouldn't talk to him and that she was very sorry she hurt me. She worked Friday and Saturday, and today. As she usually works 3 days a week. I checked her phone today and there were no messages, they had been deleted. He was still on her contacts. After she left for work, her watch beeped, and she had left it over her computer. Long story short, she had contacted him after our talk and apologized for not being able to have phone sex with him, that she's in a relationship and she wouldn't want to do anything to hurt me. Then they agreed to keep it friendly and non-sexual for the years to come. I got their messages, screenshots, and downloaded them. I texted her to tell her I had seen them, and she called me immediately. We talked for about 45 minutes. We agreed to try to work it out. I'm seeing a lawyer this week. So how was y'all's Sunday? She's in a relationship? Lol, way to downplay marriage there, mom. Also, wouldn't he have known that? Anyway, happy to hear you are speaking to a lawyer, if nothing else to see about your options. But obviously if she thinks she gets to keep him as a friend if you reconcile, I find that hilarious. Agree to work it out, but you're seeing a lawyer? Read your previous posts. I kinda hope you're joking about reconciling. She has been disrespecting you for a long time behind your back and didn't care about hurting you until she got caught. She should have told him long ago no phone sex. Good luck, cop. That's the joke, winking face. I think I have enough proof. But I guess we'll see. If she had wanted an open relationship from the beginning, I would have been fine. But she wanted marriage and was strict about checking my messages. I know she did, but here we are. She's caught red-handed and still saying it's not cheating, and that I was working too much. blah, blah, blah. I've had a few drinks, so I'm feeling light-hearted. The rest of my life begins tomorrow. On a ducking Monday, pouting face. Ah. Typical double standard cheater. Good luck to the lawyers. New beginnings start Monday. Really hate that you work too much bullshit excuse. Really? You think I want to do that? Well, in our case, we make plenty. She hates her job, or so she says, though she only works about 3 or 4 days, maybe 6, every 2 weeks. I love my job and I have an opportunity to move up the corporate chain. I don't really want to, except for the fact it would allow her to not work as much as she does already. Admittedly, she works about 60% of what most people do. Obviously, it's bullshit in her part. She's always been spoilt, from her parents to her life with me. But it ends now. It's just that women, not all, tend to throw that in a man's face as if it's somehow this grievous wrong that a man does to his wife. A fellow I worked with for a few years. His wife threw that line at him. Well, she wore nice clothes, he wore ratty clothes. It's an act of love when a man busts his ass and breaks his back so his family can have nice things. Especially when he does not. Just to be fair, women that are betrayed are often told we worked too much as well, even when our earnings made life easier for the WS. Yes, better to see a lawyer. I also believe at this point, that she left the watch, or phone, on top of the computer for you to see the messages on purpose, and she also agreed with her friend to send those SMS. And more, she's in a relationship? Isn't it a marriage? I'm sorry man, time to give her a life lesson and for you to have a good life. I wish you luck, 4-leaf clover. Updated to the update about my wife, her ex, and their texts. So there's been some interest in an update to my situation. Honestly, I didn't expect the interest and I posted it mostly to help organize my thoughts. I had already made up my mind about this relationship, but it was interesting to read the comments. Anyway, a quick recap. Married over 10 years, with 3 kids. I found incriminating messages between my wife and her friend of 20 years, where he started with some innocuous work questions and quickly moved to flirting and sexual questions, culminating with him asking for phone sex. I confronted my wife before the phone sex request, and then found their text messages on the computer a few days later. And they were worse than I had seen and she had told me. We agreed to work it out. So that's basically where we are. I've consulted with a lawyer and have started preparing for the inevitable. She agreed that it was inappropriate and that she had downplayed their friendship and defended him in the past. But, lo and behold, her computer crashed the next day and she had some spam phone calls, so she changed her phone password and her iCloud credentials. So that was the end of my access to her devices. Of course, she's been all over me and the sex has been amazing. I'm not gonna lie, of course I've enjoyed myself. She's also talking about us getting new wedding rings, since she's not usually worn hers in the past because it was uncomfortable. No shit. Meanwhile, I've worn mine all the time. She's also talking about us renewing our vows. I just nod and go along with it. She opened up more about her depression and anxiety issues, and how ashamed she was of needing validation from other men. And she suspects that she may be bipolar, which would make sense. I almost feel sorry for her, but ultimately I don't really want to help her anymore. I find myself with very little patience or pity towards her. In the meantime, I wait for spring as I enjoy the greatest sex of my life. How have you all been? So if you are going to get divorced, did you already tell her? How do I take it? Has she done something again since you discovered her? No, I didn't tell her. I figured I'll get everything settled and then break it to her. Hence we are working it out. I don't know if she has done anything since. Her computer crashed and she changed her passwords within days of our heart-to-heart. A less trusting person would think it was too convenient. Me, I'm the less trusting person. So she thinks you want to fix it, but doesn't she? When are you planning to tell him about the divorce? Yes, you have every right to distrust her. If she asks you for something, tell her about her passwords. She will stay without saying anything. I hope you keep uploading updates. I would like to see how this unfolds. I don't know if you realized it or not, but you published this on your profile, not on some infidelity sub. So what's the update to the update to the update? Yeah, enjoy that bonding sex while you get the divorce prepped. Just check with the lawyer to make sure you have enough evidence for an airtight infidelity case. If you are in an at-fault state, that will definitely help, and even if you are in a no-fault state, it couldn't hurt. Also change all your passwords just to keep her guessing. So there's a strong possibility that she's still sexting her ex. She changed her credentials, then she didn't offer to give you her access. So the affair didn't end at all. That's the next step for the waywards once they get discovered. Offer love bombs and unlimited sexual favors. Once they get it out of their system, they'll go back to their old ways, to cheat. But it seems in your wife's case, the affair didn't end at all. It's still going on its full course, in parallel with her remorse act. She's not a healthy partner to be with, to tell you honestly. All the best. Well, 10 years too late, and I still don't believe you will get rid of her. For a start, she shouldn't be still working at the same place, have no contact with him whatsoever, and it's pretty obvious that you were scared of him, or these things would have solved issues at the time. After all this, you deserve to be stuck with her. Oh, she's 100% still texting/sexting him. At worst, at best, she's trying to hide the evidence of what's happened before. Update to the 3, my wife, her ex, and their texts. Story just checking in. There's been some interest in an update to my situation, and I have a few minutes right now. Well, as expected, she's back to texting and calling. I found out around July 15th, and we had our first talk then. On the 18th, I found more messages and I confronted her again since she had talked to him twice on the 17th. She promised to cut contact and never speak to him again. But, of course, her computer crashed, and so she changed her passwords to it and the login to her phone, and iCloud. This whole time she was apologetic and blaming her mental illness, and low self-esteem, and promising she'd do better. The sex was great for about a month, and then it slowed down again. And then stopped. My birthday was last week, but we couldn't celebrate until a few days later. We did, and we had a nice dinner and cake. Some presents. That night I was playing with my son, and she had left her phone on the table where we were playing. I noticed that a message came in, but not from a contact of hers, just a phone number. His number. I checked our phone records, and it never stopped. Of course it didn't. She's called a few times, and they text a couple of times a week. On a couple of occasions they texted throughout the day. Once they texted nearly 60 times in a 24-hour period. She must suspect that I know, because she's been throwing herself at me these last 2 days. I guess I'll have to duck her tonight. So there it is, my update. My plans continue as they have been the last 2 months. Dude, just file for divorce already. Stringing this along helps no one. She hasn't stopped and you seem to have given up on the relationship, so end it. Don't get her pregnant. Best advice. This guy deserves cookies. Just divorce, man. She is not going to stop. Her heart is elsewhere. She hangs on because your wallet. She's not your wife anymore. Act accordingly. I would load her stuff up. Go ahead and pound her out and load her up. Drive her to his place and kick her out. Tell her that divorce papers will be here soon. See what kind of reaction you get from her. Drive away. Perfect. I guess I'll have to duck her tonight. This is not the win you think it is, man. Honestly, that sentence right there made me lose any sympathy for him. It's just sad. Update to 3.5, my wife, her ex, and their texts. story, well, not so much an update. More like some clarifications from my last post. I'm under no illusion that this marriage can be saved. As far as I'm concerned, it is over. But we do have 3 kids and these are my main focus. After I discovered the texts in mid-July, and we had our talk, I didn't expect her to stick by the terms we discussed. That she changed her passwords within a week of our talk and started commenting how I was being controlling shortly after made it all but a certainty in mind that she would talk to him soon, if she ever stopped at all. She blamed it all in her low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, relationship with her father, and even self-diagnosed as possibly being bipolar. I just nodded, but didn't feel charitable towards her. I've always been the rational type and I don't react out of anger. Not that I wasn't pissed at the moment, but I figured it was best to let her settle into some normalcy where she feels comfortable and safe, and that she's pulled a fast one over me. In the meantime, I'm gathering evidence, and laying the groundwork for an exit in the spring. I'll be in a much better position then, financially and legally, and I'll get to keep the kids in their schools for now. And as for the ducking her, excuse me for wanting to get my dick wet. I had a vasectomy a few years back, so no risk of getting her pregnant. I get the anger most people feel, but I'm not even mad now. I'm focused on my plans to get everything in order and taken care of in due time. Remember to wear a raincoat, you don't want anything she brings home to crawl on your dick. I don't blame you for continuing to have sex with her, but please get STD tested regularly, and it doesn't sound like this is a risk, but don't let it bind you to her emotionally. Talk about a circus, she knows what she's doing to you and your family and doesn't care. The excuses are simply to deflect blame and responsibility, put it on someone else so it makes her look better, but she knows what she's doing isn't right. Yet she keeps doing it. Why? Because she's a bad person. She wanted this to happen and she wants to keep the thrill of committing to boo acts going, so she won't leave, as she's addicted to the rush of doing something wrong, which has nothing to do with her past experiences, only of who she is at the core. Other people have gone through the same stuff she has and never became a cheater, nor will they ever. This is who she is. That being said, I'm glad you're finally seeing reason, in that you finally see leaving is the only option for your sake and your kids. Just be careful with how much time you're getting all your ducks in a row, as she might pick up on your plans and beat you to it. In your previous post, you seemed to be in denial about how bad this actually was. You took every opportunity to ignore any advice that didn't have reconciliation in it. I get it, you didn't want to admit failure, but the problem is that as soon as she lied and didn't admit that what she was doing was wrong, was the minute you should have realized this is beyond salvaging, food for thought for the future. But hey, that's hindsight for you. Gross dude. Kick her A to the curb already, TF. If you can hold it together, then stay until spring. Just make sure the kids are taken care of and don't see you fight. As for the sex, I'd worry about STDs. If you are pulling back, there is little to no reason for her not to step out with the other dude again. I guess this post is fake or this guy is a doormat. I did call out many other posters for dubious stories, but I feel this one is genuine. The level of rational thinking is very human and I feel myself close to his reactions. I do too become cold, detached and rational once I reach a final decision. So, sorry but I don't agree with you. Well shit. Smiley face. I'm gonna use this thing before breaking it. I bet, that's what you're thinking while having sex with it. You are on the right track. I wish you all the very best. You sound like you are in a very strong and balanced space. Wish I was as sound of mind and clear as you are. Good luck, brother. You can get your DK wet by someone else, someone better than her. I mean, how could you feel okay when putting it inside and not thinking that another dude was also in there? Also, the more you get sideways from her, the more feeling you will get from her. Simping hard, then you won't leave her. Use her like she is trying to use you, but wear protection. Continue to monitor and remain wary. If she discovers your plan to leave, she will do her best to sabotage all your efforts until she is ready to leave on her terms. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.